All right. Hello, everybody. Brian Adair here from Ageless HQ, and with me I have Dr. Dan Ritchie. You may recall us from the Ageless Summit that we did a few months back, and Dan just got through producing what he's calling the Simple Sleep Protocol. And when he first sent it out, I saw it, and it's on sale for $10. And although $10 to some may not be much, it may be they might can find that much change in their car. But to others, I know it could be a big expense. But regardless, at $10 for what this is, for a sleep product that can help you sleep, I thought I'm grabbing this up. So went ahead and bought it, read through it, and thought, yeah, I loved the layout, how it's simple, it's quick, it's nothing too in-depth, it's not overly analytical, and it's just a really good product to get into people's hands that do have trouble sleeping. So I wanted to get Dan on the line here and let him talk a little bit about it. So Dan, how's it going?
It's going great. It's going great. Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure, of course. So, and now we're bearded brothers.
That's right. Looking
I've
good. Looking
been,
good.
yeah, the only difference now is I've got this right here,
Yeah.
and that is
Yeah.
missing from this. So it's your turn now to pick up some of this instead
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck.
So, to get on quick, folks, we're going to be real quick about this, just a 10 to 15 minutes, something like that. You guys can get some quick information, get on with your day. But Dan, so the Simple Sleep Protocol, we had, if as I recall, Dr. Stephen Park on the summit, and he talked about sleep, and then you come out with this. And real quick, if you can tell us what prompted you to want to put some sleep information out there.
Well, I've collaborated with a couple other people in the fitness industry, and a couple of us got together and said, one of the biggest reasons why people are struggling with their metabolism and weight loss and stress and just a number of different factors is just their sleep habits are terrible. And I often don't really think of it as a fitness component, right, or a fitness thing to really measure. But the reality is, it doesn't matter how much you're working out or how well you're eating. If your sleep is a wreck, you're not going to feel good. And it has so many impacts on so many things, from brain health to metabolism, to stress, to chronic health conditions. And so, well, I don't consider myself a sleep expert by any means. And this $10 book is not, the most researched, in-depth expertise on sleep. I think it does give a lot of simple concepts that I think a lot of people are struggling with, that I take for granted that people didn't realize caffeine affects their sleep, and alcohol and food consumption affects our sleep. And, certain behaviors that we're not even thinking about are impacting our ability to sleep through the night, sleep well. And that's not even getting into the fact that some people just are not disciplined at, going to bed on time and getting up at the same time, and some of those sorts of things.
It really is amazing how people view sleep nowadays. We all get so busy that sleep is considered the expendable part of the equation.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, as long as I eat right and I get my activity and I'm getting everything done, then I should be good. I'll catch a few hours sleep, and then that's just life. You
Yeah.
just got to
Well,
suck it up.
and I think even the fitness industry has done a disservice to itself, to people working in the fitness industry, but also to people aspiring to be fit. We tell people, well, you got to get up at 5 a.m. or 5:30 or 6 a.m. or whatever it takes. You got to get up to get your workout in. Well, if we don't also address the fact that, but you have to get your sleep in first, then we have people going to bed at midnight, getting up at 4:30 in the morning to get their workout in, because we've made fitness such a high priority. Well, now you're doing such detriment to your health by not sleeping. And so I've realized, as part of the fitness industry, we've sort of put this culture on people that like, well, you got to get your workout in. And so if it means you got to get up at 5 a.m. to do it, then whatever that takes. Well, but we didn't really have the conversation of, but you got to get your 7 or 8 hours of sleep first. That's fundamental for health and longevity and just so many things. And then of course, our culture in the United States, of course, is driven by how much we're accomplishing, how much we're doing, so if you're spending time sleeping, then I'm going to beat you because I'm going to work 2 hours later at night. I'm going to get up 2 hours earlier than you. Right. And I'm going to outwork you. Well, when we really look at the detriment to our health, we realize people that sleep 7 or 8 hours are going to be more productive. They're going to be more creative. They're going to have better brain health long term. Now, sure, in the short run, you might be able to get more done if you're not sleeping, but long term, it's going to have serious negative impacts on so many factors of health.
Yeah, you talk about the 12 benefits in there. You hit them pretty, short and quick. And you just talked about a few, so there's no need to really go over that, I don't think.
Well, I think the one that I'd like to spend a few minutes on is just the improved memory, and the fact that if we're not sleeping consistently, if we're constantly in a sleep deprived situation, where we're only getting 5.5 or 6 hours sleep, and we think we can function well, right? We fool ourselves into thinking, well, I'm performing at work and, I haven't lost my job and those sorts of things. We don't realize our brain would be functioning at a much higher level. Our memory would be stronger, our ability to retain facts and details and even, just remember enjoyable moments in our day or past weeks would be stronger. Our brain is not getting enough recovery time if we're not sleeping long enough. And so that's a huge thing that I think people gloss over. They just think, oh, well, I don't need that much sleep because I'm functioning. But your brain would be functioning at a higher level if you were getting more sleep.
Yeah, it's all about the hustle and getting the stuff done. And like you said, the trainers and everyone want to talk about get up and get your workouts in. Well, the workouts are great regardless of how long you do them, 10, 20, 30 minutes or an hour. But I think what people fail to see is the fact that, okay, that's your actual work, but the progress that you make from that workout is done during the remaining 23 hours of the day. When you're eating right and you're doing all of the right things for your own personal health, such as getting a proper amount of sleep.
Yep.
So, memory's one, and just not being groggy through the day when you're driving. How many car accidents happen just because folks are sleepy coming home from work at the end of the day?
Absolutely. Avoiding accidents is one of our benefits. Drowsy driving is as dangerous as drunk driving, and it's a significant issue, especially in the U.S. And you mentioned, athletic or physical performance. That's one of the benefits that we researched out as well. I mean, athletic performance is impacted by sleep and quality of sleep. And it's not just the night before, right? It's not just, oh, well, I need to sleep the night before my game or my Spartan race or my marathon. No, it's days and days of adequate sleep of your body being fully rested and recovered and ready to perform, not just I slept well the night before. And of course, if we have a pattern of poor sleep, we can't expect our body to then just flip a switch and sleep well the night before our competition. It's not going to happen. And so we need to be consistently over several weeks before athletic performances be sleeping well, which means it needs to be a lifestyle habit, not just hey, I need to sleep well the night before my game, because odds are that's not going to happen. And when you think about athletic performance, I think, again, this is where people misunderstand, because the difference in 1% to 2% performance can be the difference between you having a winning competition and you losing, or you having a personal best, or you really enjoying the sporting competition, even if it's just something you're doing for fun. It's a lot more fun if you're performing at your personal best on a consistent basis, and your likelihood for injury is going to be less. Your likelihood of you finishing is going to be greater if you're doing a long distance event. And so and of course, you're training along the way. is going to be far more successful if you're sleeping, because like you said, training is a stimulus and our body responds to that stimulus during recovery, and it responds best while we're sleeping and can fully recover. And if we're shortening our sleep to 5 or 6 hours, we're not getting full recovery. So we're not even responding to our training like we should.
Yeah, so few people realize that, and I think it's stuff like this that brings it to the forefront of people's minds that should help them realize just how important their sleep is. So, real quickly, you mentioned 20 stressors in the book that are preventing people from getting good sound sleep, good sound consistent sleep. For for the sake of time, how about covering about, I don't know what you think, 3, 4, 5 of those real quickly? Some of the ones that maybe people have been the most surprised about, or the ones that seem to hit home with people the most.
Yeah. I think I mean, I like to think that most of these are common sense, but the reality is I think many of these people have not thought about. And so a couple that I'll hit are ones that I think many of us are doing, and we're just underestimating their impact. And so one is what I call excited or man-made light. And this can be from so many different things, but for sure, for many of us, it's checking our cell phone the moment before we lay down, right? Our cell phone's by our nightstand and we're checking our email, or we're looking at something we have to do first thing in the morning. The man-made light confuses our brain into still thinking that it's daytime. And so our hormones get messed up, and as opposed to, 100 years ago, it was dark and there wasn't man-made light, and our body knew it was time to rest. And so trying to avoid screens, cell phones, iPads, laptops, at least 30 minutes before you're ready to shut your eyes really helps relax our hormones and get our body ready for sleep. So that's one. Another one that I think people have made the mistake of is just doing too much before bed, right? We're doing too many household tasks. We're checking emails, we're packing the kids' lunch for school, we're doing all these things so we don't have to do them in the morning, and that's not winding our body down. In fact, it's stimulating our body that it's go time. And so trying to transition to something that's relaxing, whether it's reading or showering, taking a bath, just doing something that sets you into a relaxed state can have a big impact. The other one that I think is underestimated is a food. It's what we call stressor number 6, our blood sugar imbalance. If you eat something in the evening that's going to spike your blood sugar, then sometime during the evening, your blood sugar is going to crash. And so if we have a snack, like ice cream, for example, or, a granola bar, or even a bowl of cereal, something that's going to spike our blood sugar. Well, if our blood sugar then drops or crashes an hour into our sleep, it's going to tend to wake us up, and we don't even know why we've woken up. If we eat it 2 or 3 hours before we sleep, right before we try to go to sleep, we may notice our blood sugar crashing, and that can impact our ability to go to sleep. So the things we eat before we go to bed can have a big impact on our ability to stay asleep, but also our ability to fall asleep. Because if our body's having a blood sugar crash right as we're trying to lay down, it's not going to be happy and want to go to sleep. And we're going to all of a sudden be like, why am I feeling hungry right as I'm going to bed? Well, it's because you had a high sugar snack 2 hours ago, right? If you have it an hour within going to sleep, sometimes you'll have that blood sugar crash an hour into your night's sleep, and you'll wonder, why am I waking up and I can't keep sleeping? And you don't even realize it's a food thing. And so we cover some tips, some do's and don'ts, some things to consider not eating within bedtime, near bedtime, and some things that you should consider eating that aren't going to crash your blood sugar so your body sleeps through the night.
Yeah, that was a good one for me. The being mindful of what you eat prior to going to bed. I've got a nasty habit, I guess. Well, it's not really that bad. Particularly on Wednesday nights, my family gets together and watches a TV show called Survivor, and I will eat a gluttonous amount of ice cream, and I'll do that at probably 9 p.m. or something like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
So yeah, being mindful of what I eat and how soon or close to bedtime that I eat that.
Yeah, even, I mean, if you're
Is
going
a
to do
good one
that,
for me.
because, that's a fun thing to do. Survivor was on last night. I watched a little of it. If you're going to do that, there's some simple tips to how you can add some things to that. If you were to add some protein or some healthy fats or some other things that balance that snack a little bit, your body's less likely to have that blood sugar response at midnight or
Oh,
1 in the morning. So,
but Dan, listen, if I add protein and stuff to it, I'm going to be full on other protein things instead of ice cream.
well, right,
Take
you might
ice cream
not be able
space
to
in my
have
belly.
3 bowls of ice cream. You might have to cut it back to 1.5 bowls of ice cream.
And what fun is that? Man, you're killing me, Dan. You're
Yeah,
killing
right.
me. Okay. So real quick, hit us up with with a nice sleep trick. You talked about you've got an ancient sleep trick. That was a good one. And if you want to talk about any others, and we'll wrap this up for the folks.
Yeah, well, we've got in chapter 5 we talk about how to prime your body for sleep, and we've got a couple of different tricks in there. I can't give all of them away, but one sleep trick is to have a really good room temperature. And I think many of us sleep in too warm of a room, and so having a slightly cooler room really can impact your ability to sleep and your body to get to rest quickly. Another sleep tip that we recommend, and this is kind of a centuries old technique. It's a muscle relaxation technique. So we really call it more of a relaxation trick that triggers your body to think, okay, it's time to relax. My body's getting ready to sleep. So it's more of a relaxation trick than it is a sleep trick, but it's a muscle relaxation technique. And it basically involves you contracting and relaxing each muscle group in your body from the tip of your toes to the top of your head. And I know for some of us, that's going to require some real body control focus to be like, well, gee, how do I contract the muscles in my feet and my calves and different parts of my body? I've never really thought about contracting the muscles in different groups. But as you do this muscle relaxation technique, it calms our body. It brings a calmness over us, which for many of us is the real challenge with getting to sleep. We just can't calm ourselves down. We've been so stimulated by work, by family, by kids, by what just came in my email an hour ago, by, oh, I have a meeting tomorrow. We're so overstimulated that our body simply cannot calm down. And so this relaxation technique, it's not a new concept. Like I said, it's centuries old, but it allows our body then to relax and contract, and it brings a calmness to us that then prepares our body to shift to, I'm going to sleep. And for many people that begin this, it becomes a practice then that your body realizes, okay, I'm going through this relaxation technique, so now it's time for my body to rest. And it triggers our brain to realize, I'm going to calm down. I'm going to set all those stresses from work aside, and now is my time for my body to rest. And so it prepares us then to try to fall asleep, which I think for many people is the difficult part, right? We lay down and we can't fall asleep because our brain is still stimulated. We're still thinking about all those things we have to do tomorrow, and we can't get our body to calm down. We can't get our brain to calm down. Well, by doing this relaxation technique, our brain focuses on all this muscle contraction. It turns off its activity from all our stresses that tomorrow hold. And, I always believe today has enough trouble of its own. We don't need to be worrying about tomorrow just yet. Let's let that be. And so this relaxation technique just helps a lot of people calm their brain, calm their body, and get themselves ready to fall asleep.
Yeah, I can't argue with you with a lot of people have trouble falling asleep. I tend to be on the other end of the spectrum where I fall asleep easily, but it's not uncommon for me to wake up at 3:30, sometimes in the twos, and really struggle to fall back asleep. So
Sure.
the stressors, there were, like I said, there are 20. A couple of them, a lot of them were common sense, but there were a few in there that I thought, okay, I should take care of that. I should use this to cut this off at the pass, and then some of the tricks to getting back to sleep after you wake up and your
Yep.
mind starts racing and you can't shut it off, and you're doing nothing but thinking about things that don't matter. But then what you begin to do is obsess that you're obsessing you can't go to sleep.
Right. Yep. Yep.
And so it's this ridiculous cycle, and it just kills me.
Yeah.
So anyway, Dan, thanks so much. Again, folks, it is a simple product, like as the name is called, the Simple Sleep Protocol. Some good tips, good tricks in there. It's really inexpensive at $10. You can't go wrong. So give it a look, and I know Dan would appreciate it, and more so, you'll appreciate it for doing something to get yourself back to sleep. So,
Yeah.
all right, Dan, thanks a lot. We'll
Yep.
talk again soon.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
See ya.